Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today. We're going to be talking about scaling your business and solving real-world challenges with virtual assistants. And before we get started, just let me do a couple of things. First of all, we have some people online, and we have a large number of people that have requested copies of the recording, which is becoming more and more the norm as people manage their time every day. So I look forward to sharing some interesting stories, real world stories, about how business owners have solved their business challenges and enabled themselves to scale using virtual assistants. And so we will have a Q&A towards the end, but I do want to invite you to put your name in the chat, and we'd love to hear from you as to if you want to tell us where you're from. Great, and why you're here today, because that will help us make sure we answer questions that you might have. And I'd also like to introduce Lana, who is helping me with this meeting today. And so she'll be managing the chat to make sure I'm aware of any questions that come up, but we'll probably take the questions towards the end. So let me get started. So let me introduce myself first. I'm Elizabeth Ice, and I'm the CEO and founder of ResultsResourcing. And I've done a lot of things in my life. Spent decades running Fortune 500 business operations. Joined my first tech startup in 2020. And since that time, have done a lot of business consulting, been an angel investor. But most important to this topic, I've spent 2 decades hiring gig workers or freelancers. And really what that caused me to do is in 2015, I launched ResultsResourcing because I felt there was a better way to serve solopreneurs, the small businesses. And part of that was really providing human help. So ResultsResourcing is both a staffing and technology hybrid. We are a technology platform, but we have humans that interact with our clients and prospective clients, as well as the freelancers that work with us. And we really provide human help in hiring fractional talent. And we're also unique because while people can work with individual freelancers, we are also specialists in team-based support. And I'll talk more about that later, but that gives breadth, depth, and scalability, which is really important if the objective is to empower solopreneurs and SMBs to scale. So really my inspiration is what small business means as the lifeblood of the US economy, creating really the vast majority of jobs and driving innovation and competitiveness. And if you look at SBA statistics, these are the current statistics, but about 82% of businesses are non-employee firms or solopreneurs, and almost 20% do have some employees, but not that many. And all in all, they represent 99.9% of US businesses and really generate a large percentage, 46% of the total US GDP. So of the 28 trillion, generating almost half of that. And so my theme really with solopreneurs and SMBs is to think bigger. The average revenue, again, according to SBA statistics, for a solopreneur is about $50,000. And if you start to add employees, 1 to 4, annual revenue raises to almost 400,000, 5 to 9, just over $1 million, and 10 to 19, just over 2 million. And I just keep asking my question, if this is the backbone of the US economy, and frankly, almost any economy in the world, what impact could that have on families, communities, states, the country, if these numbers could double? And that's really kind of the mission that matters to me. And so what I want to talk about today is how small businesses, whether it's a solopreneur or a small business, have real world challenges that can be solved with virtual assistants, which gives them extra hands, extra skilled hands to scale their businesses so they have greater impact as well as financial rewards in their business. So we're going to be talking about these 5 things: the ROI of time, because that's kind of the most important thing in terms of understanding an entrepreneur's time and the value of it. The benefits of outsourcing. I'd like to talk about 5 real-world case studies that are really wrapped around groups of small businesses that are looking for similar outcomes. And I also want to touch on AI versus human agents, because that's a very contemporary topic and getting a lot of press these days. And then finally, what does it all mean in terms of your business and how you can leverage the options to scale your business? Let's start with ROI. and optimizing your time. And I talk a lot about core versus non-core work. And really it follows the 80-20, 20-80 rule, that 20% of work, which is the core work of your business, is what's going to drive 80% of client and business value. But unfortunately, 80% of your time is spent running the business, roughly speaking. And really changing the dynamic can free up time to spend more time on the core work of your business, which is going to generate revenue and client value. And so that is your most valuable asset. And it is a finite asset. There's only so many hours of the day, as the saying goes. So if you want to do a napkin test, just jot down what is an hour of your time worth. And you don't have to worry about the definition of worth, but if you had to charge a rate for an hour, what would that be? And then how many hours a week do you work? And if you multiply that the two, it's roughly the value of the time that you work every week. And really the question to ask yourself is, are you investing that time, which means investing it in a work that will grow your business and add client value? Or are you spending your time on the backroom work that's got to be done, but really doesn't generate revenue? And this is access to a little tool that we created called the ROI of Time Calculator, and you can try it yourself using the QR code. But one of the recent folks that discovered the calculator and took it was bemoaning the fact that only 55% of his time was used for billable activities. And it spurred him to decide to delegate more. But what's interesting is in all the findings of all the people that have ever taken this survey is that 43%, not even 55, 43% of all the people who have taken the survey spend their time on billable work. And so just a quick example of what that means is the average rate is $166 an hour. And most people, or the average is 58 hours a week is the work week. And here's that 43%, but the revenue generating core work is only 25 hours a week. So 25 divided by 58 is 43%. And if you multiply those 25 hours times 166, it's $4,000 a week that's being invested in generating revenue and impact for your firm. Conversely, the non-core work is 57%. That's 33 hours. And again, if you do the math, 33 times 166, you're spending $5,500 a week to support your business. And so that's kind of out of whack. And my feeling is you can take some of those hours that are spent in non-core work and outsource it, delegate it to someone that is skilled at that work. Then that is a way to take advantage of opportunity cost and spend more hours doing the work that's going to generate value, impact, funds for your business. So the question then is, what do I do? If I'm going to focus on ROI of time, what work should I do? What work should I delegate? And what I always talk about is, again, that core work. That's what your client will pay you for, your front office. That's the work you should focus on. And you should delegate the low ROI work, which is non-core. It's what you have to do to run your business, but it really isn't going to generate revenue. But clients expect it, but they're not going to pay for it. And really, that is the work to think about outsourcing. And you don't have to do it all at once, but slowly finding ways to have someone else that's really skilled at that backroom work do it is, frankly, it's a real time reliever and creates opportunity to grow your business. So the benefits of outsourcing really are three. Freelancers are available, they're flexible, and they're highly skillful. And today, in today's world of technology, having skills that are dynamic to keep pace with the evolution of skills is very important. So I believe outsourcing really allows you to optimize your time, and your capital. And there's kind of 5 big reasons. One, you can offload that non-core work that I spoke about. You can scale up or down because you're not making a full-time commitment to a freelancer. You use what you need. You can add results-oriented talent. Most freelancers run their own businesses. It's not a side hustle. They really want to deliver value because it's a business for them. So they're very results oriented. It also enables you to add broad thinking and experience. So doing a new pilot and a new idea might be new for you, but if a freelancer's done it before for someone else or in a different industry, then you can leverage that experience, as well as they think across clients, across industry, to help you broaden your view of what's possible. And then lastly, as I mentioned, the world is more and more a technology-oriented world and an AI utilization-oriented world. And freelancers really keep pace with these tools and are expert in CRM systems or lead management systems or using AI. And it's a great way to add those skills without having to find, vet, and hire full-time people. So let me talk about 5 kind of groupings of success stories. And the first success story is really coaches and counselors and that sort of a profession. And we support many that are leadership, speaker, career, breakthrough coaches, therapists, just broadly speaking, those are examples. And what they all come to us for is outcomes that will help them generate more revenue and deliver more value. And it's not all money. Some of it is doing what you love. Some of it is really helping the people you're called to help. And so they're looking for more client time. They're looking more for creative time, looking for time to build courses that can be leveraged to generate revenue without their in-person involvement on a day-to-day basis. And more public speaking. And so these are the key roles that they tend to outsource. And I won't go into each one in detail. And if you're a coach and consultant and want to consider this, you might want to take a snapshot of this so you can look more about it. And I love talking to people about how freelancers could help them scale. Happy to, as you'll see at the end, love to do a free consult to talk about how these kind of freelance roles can help you scale your business. But every coach and consultant needs help with daily admin and time management. The individual skills differ, but they often need help with their events, projects, their client work, leads, podcasts, creating newsletters, website conversions from clicks to clients, if you will, invoicing and bookkeeping. All these kind of roles are in the back room, but will help a coach and counselor achieve the outcomes that they seek. Story number 2. In a way, these are similar to coaches and consultants, but they're fractional coaches and consultants or advisors. And they tend to work in the professional services like chief operating officer, chief HR officer, revenue officer, financial officer, technology officer, lawyers or financial representatives. These are all fractional, skillful people that want to scale their business and serve more clients. And we support many. And the outcomes they want, just like I spoke about already, is they want to increase more revenue and impact. So the things they're looking for, more client time, more creative time. And this is interesting. They want post-engagement execution support. So once they work with a client and hand off work to be done to that client, sometimes that's where the breakdown occurs because the client doesn't have time or skills to always implement all the things that were planned for in the professional engagement. And so post-engagement execution support helps strategy into execution and into results. And these are the key roles that fractional consultants and advisors are looking for. Again, the daily stuff, but business development, lead management, client research, because sometimes that's necessary to really support an industry-specific client, for example. And marketing, setting up and optimizing a CRM so they really can track the work they're doing with clients and take it to the next level. Again, if you want to take a snapshot of this, if you're a fractional consultant or advisor, be happy to talk to you more about specifics. And success story number 3, agencies. We support many agencies, whether they're PR agency, advertising, creative, digital marketing, website development, or design agencies. We've historically supported many of these. Like all the others, they're looking for outcomes that will generate impact and revenue. Client and project support, talent ecosystem. Clients come to them for work, around advertising or marketing, and they need a talent ecosystem of people that are skillful in a wide variety of areas that they may not need every day. They're really looking for flexible skill capacity, somebody they can bring on to help with a specialized graphic design project or something unique to a specific industry. That really helps them respond to client needs more specifically. And these are the key roles outsourced to this group of clients. Again, the daily stuff And similar to the others, project, events management, that spot expertise, doing their own marketing, even though they do it for others. It's kind of the cobbler's children kind of story. They could use support to do their own marketing and social media, market research, graphic design, video editing. All these things are really, really popular roles that can be outsourced to very skillful freelancers. Success story number 4 is online seller support. It's really astounding the number of people that sell through Amazon, Etsy, Shopify. And to be a successful seller requires a lot of skill. It's laborious to get it all set up. It's laborious to make it work right. And just like, ads or SEO, there's a lot of technicalities to having your listings really show up the way you want so you can drive sales. So outcomes, again, are those that derive revenue. They want more sales. They want better storefronts. They want to optimize their product positioning so people find what they need and can buy from them. And these are really the key roles outsourced. And I'd kind of put these roles into 2 camps. One is setup. More and more businesses are selling through channels like this. And getting the store set up properly is highly technical. And to get it set up well is you can really access people that are expert at this. And then once the store's set up, it's managing the store, whether it's adding products or retagging products, doing the things that are going to make product listings more successful. And then ultimately, it's order fulfillment. It's managing people's subscriptions, vendor management, and again, the social media marketing and newsletters that can happen outside of the platform itself. So again, if you're a seller online, take a snapshot of this screen and we can talk further. And the last success story is in-person service businesses. And we've supported many of these over the years as well, from plumbers and electricians to retailers. We've supported many photographers. One of the most recent clients is a wine shop that also does international tours. So a lot of really interesting businesses that have interesting twists to help them sell their in-person services. And like all the others, they're looking for impact and more revenue. So they want fast response time when people come to their website or come on site, and want help. They want more profitable operations. And basically, they're looking to do more effective automation. So even if they're in person, every business has technology that supports it, and they're looking for help there. And they may be a little less technical in some businesses that say are online sellers and used to online technology tools. And these are the key roles that tend to be outsourced. Again, the basic management, but then and there's any kind of things from managing inquiries to cold calls, appointment setting, managing vendors or people that go on site to provide services, inventory, because a lot of people have to stock their stores or have supplies so they can deliver their services. So, and then lastly, the social media and marketing newsletters, because they too need to market to people they've served before, work on referrals, all these things are necessary to support an in-person business as well. So if you're an in-person business and want to talk further, take a snapshot and we can do that as well. So I want to turn after these success stories to a topic that's coming up a lot in the press, and it's really the difference between human and artificial intelligence offering virtual assistants. And in my view, virtual assistant is a professional support service. It's a profession like anything else because it requires a great deal of broad skills and technical excellence to really do it well. It's not somebody that just decides to hang out a shovel and say, I'm a VA. Well, they may be, but they're really not going to be able to deliver all the things that are going to be necessary for a business using that VA to scale. So at the low end of the spectrum, I would say that there's tasks. These are repetitive tasks, not a lot of thought involved, routine workflows, using template scripts. Those are the kind of things that are on that low end of the spectrum. On the opposite end of the spectrum, and this is where I think businesses can really leverage virtual assistants, is when it's outcomes oriented. And that enables you to do critical thinking, problem solve. It's flexible communication. They can adjust based on what's happening. It's very self-motivated because many of the human resources are business owners themselves and focused on delivering client services, so very results oriented. And not to like make this anything less than what it is, but really offer humanity, which is what people want. They want an authentic interaction with brands, to really want to do business with that brand. So where does AI come in? Well, if you actually Google what is virtual assistants today, or put it in Chat GPT, those kinds of tools, what comes back is digital virtual assistants, which means that Amazon, Apple, Google, Microsoft, they're all putting out their digital virtual assistants that start as personal assistance tools through phones and Alexas and things like that can turn your lights up and down, or write a shopping list, whatever it might be. And so I think those tools are only going to get better and only stronger. And I think they're going to start increasingly take over the lower end of the market, because it is technology. That is computer code, and it's programmed to handle repetitive tasks, routine tasks. And even if it's intelligent, it's assembling information from what it's been taught. And so I think that AI agents are going to become more and more prevalent, and I frankly support it. It's going to provide a much more comprehensive view of the world, as well as consistency and execution. And bots, for example, are very rational agents. They're able to look at more and more contextual information, to be more and more intelligent in their responses, because they can access and analyze data, collect data, and it's really context-based customer support that, even humans in a call center really can't duplicate that unless all those records are made handy. And then it's time consuming for them to find it all. AI is fast, and I really encourage people to consider using it. And I think the frontier is going to keep moving right. Will it ever be as outcomes oriented as a human? Probably not in my lifetime, but I think that we need to recognize how to utilize AI in work to scale, but still work with humans that can make a difference. And so ultimately, I think the real value is digital virtual assistants, AI agents, plus human virtual assistants, because the humans can ask AI the right questions. If you don't ask AI the right questions, you're not necessarily going to get the right answer. And humans can evaluate the output. Is it reasonable? And then they own the results. They're going to take whatever that information is, turn it into something that's measurable and meaningful, and also provide the human voice of the brand and be humanity itself, which is something that, again, in my lifetime, is not going to be something that AI can deliver. So that's just a snapshot of what we're seeing in terms of virtual assistants delivered through AI versus humans. So a lot of people ask, I really get why I need a human virtual assistant, but I don't think I can afford it. So I just want to talk quickly about how to think about affording. And this is an actual example from a business consultant that we supported. So back to our ROI of time calculator, they basically said that this is their split of core versus non-core work, but 27 hours a week they were spending on non-core at the same hourly rate of $120. So they were spending over $3,000 doing this non-core work. And when they broke it down, they could see, and you can see on the left-hand side, these were the main hours, 12, 5, 5, 5, that they were spending on these broad categories. And so the opportunity cost is just the calculation of those hours times 120 versus the cost to outsource this work at $40 an hour. So I'm thinking more North American rates than I am offshore, but still you can see that the cost is much lower than the net benefit. And so ultimately, and this is a really idealistic example, but if they basically converted all of the hours to revenue generating at that rate, the value of the time goes up dramatically. The cost to outsource to a US or Canadian resource is $1,000, and they net almost $5,000. And all this stuff also gets done well, and saving them all that time. So that, in my mind, is a way to think about how to afford it. Does it require a little bit of a leap of faith that you can convert that time you're switching to core? It's going to deliver clients. maybe it might take a month or two, but I think the more time that's spent there, the more successful that you'll be. So that's a way to think about affording a human virtual assistant. Sometimes people also think about hiring an employee versus freelancers. So I thought I'd show this quick examples as well. But if you're going to hire an employer, you're really making a commitment. And these are all the kinds of things that you need to think about if you're going to hire an employee. And I like to think about a freelancer for appropriate contract roles. A freelancer is not a substitute for an employee, but for the freelance roles, you're paying an hourly rate or a project fee for the work that's required. You don't have to worry about keeping someone occupied or productive for 40 hours a week, and you don't incur all these other costs. So I really think the world going forward is a hybrid world where there will be a combination of leadership, employees, and freelancers to really deliver results and help a small business scale. Let me just spend a couple minutes talking about results resourcing, because this has been a journey of over 10 years in building and thinking about how I can help small businesses scale. And so results resourcing is a platform and a service, and it's built by and for solopreneurs and SMBs, just like me. So that's what we do, is we help solopreneurs and small businesses scale, and I help other businesses learn from what I've learned and from what I've learned helping other businesses. And what we are is a freelance talent matching service. And I really think of us as being the best of both worlds. We're human beings, we're talent specialists that are enabled by technology. And we do have a fully automated proprietary technology platform that frankly you don't have to use. We use it to be efficient, so we can help you find and work with the best freelancers that we find and vet through our platform. And so we're always adding that human element, because people want to talk to people and make sure that they're heard in terms of what their needs. So for us, you get to talk to entrepreneurs. And if you click the button in the last slide about a free consult, it will be with me. And I would love to talk to you, whether or not you end up choosing to work with us with a freelance team. I'm all about helping businesses scale. So you talk to me, an entrepreneur, I've been there too, and still in there. And we will really help you access skilled, scalable talent. And these are the qualities. They're critical thinkers and doers. They're both teams or individuals. And as I mentioned before, you can get a one team lead with a team of a wide variety of skills that has skills range, depth, and scalability, because you're not dependent on just the hours that one person has. But you still get to work with individuals that get to know your business. And they're all US and Canadian pros, because I feel it's important to understand the culture here and be business savvy about how business is done here. And we're also very cost effective and quick, which is what the technology helps us do. And our value proposition is basically this: we're human led. First of all, we are freelance work experts, 10 years doing this. Human led, we do a free consult. We're curated talent, so we find, vet, curate, and make sure people are capable. We offer teams or individuals, and we are deeply invested in your success. So we check the box. This is what I wanted to build, and this is what we have built. And just for comparison, because many people do go to other big platforms, these are publicly traded platforms, to look for freelancers. And they are certainly freelance work experts, and they have tons of freelancers on the platforms. But you do all the work yourself, and no one's there to help you. You are talking to technology. And the same with a well-meaning friend. I hear a lot of people saying, oh, my neighbor suggested I talk to this person. Well, they're not necessarily freelance work experts. They've not qualified that person. They're just well-intentioned. So there's a lot of work involved in finding talent through these platforms. And going back to my analogy of core versus non-core, DIY recruiting is non-core work. You need to do it to find talent, but you need to find a way to do it that isn't costly to your business, and you get the talent that you need to succeed. So with us, we provide on-demand virtual assistants. And what does that mean? Well, clients kept coming back to us saying they wanted confident, reliable, nice, and right now. And so over the years, we've really focused on how do we deliver on those four things. But what we do is we provide vetted human US and Canadian teams. So they're all people that, frankly, I've worked with personally myself. They are business and culture savvy, highly technology oriented. They have broad, deep skill sets. highly scalable because, again, you're not dependent on one person. It's a team of people to make sure that you get the hours you need, depending on the skills that you need. We also don't have any minimums. Many services require 10, 20 hours a week or a month, to even get started. We don't do that. We don't need the minimums because we're so automated. And we can get these teams set up for you in 24 to 48 hours. And they're highly accountable, and they're all very results oriented. These are the really popular roles, and I talked about some of them when I was talking about the success stories, but these are all on-demand roles that we can get up and running for you in 24 to 48 hours with a highly skilled team. And we guarantee satisfaction. We want this to work. We named the company Results Resourcing because that's what I want to do. I want to deliver results for you. So in closing, I would love for you to set up a free call. I mean, I'd love to talk about your business. I always learn a lot, and I will offer what I can to help you think about scaling and how you might leverage freelance resources to do that. And then I love talking about this. It's my passion. And if there's a podcast or someone that's got a group that's interested in learning more about how to scale using freelancers, I would absolutely love the opportunity to be introduced. So with that, really, that's how you solve real world problems with freelancers. And I'm happy to take any questions that you might have. Lana.
Thank you so much. We have a question. What are some key skills that human virtual assistant possesses that digital tools currently lack, in your opinion?
Well, I think the important thing to think about in terms of digital tools is how they got trained. I mean, first of all, they're programmed by human beings, and then they access whatever information they can get trained on from the internet. And a very recent trend is, well, in the origin of AI, they would be trained on wide databases, and there's been a lot of argument about just what they accessed and whether they should have accessed it. And increasingly, people are putting barriers up. Companies are putting barriers up, or research institutes, or whatever it might be, which means that there's less and less information that's going to be broadly available to AI tools. So I say that simply because by its very nature, no matter how broad its reach, it's limited by whoever programmed it, as well as the information that it calls upon. And I think going forward, it's not going to access as much information as it was able to access in the past. So that alone is going to be a limitation, because at the end of the day, it's only going to do tasks as well as people anticipated who coded and trained that AI. And I think that's a huge difference right there, because humans have very nimble minds. They're creative, they're critical thinkers, and they can take a situation and think on the spot and figure out real world solutions. So I think that's probably the biggest thing. And then second is just the humanity piece, in the sense of reflecting the voice of a brand, or a message. Because any number of times I've heard people, I asked it to do this and it came back with something that sounded like ChatGPT. And you can even basically say, rewrite that with these parameters, and it will rewrite it. But at the end of the day, you need a human being to go in, touch it up at the very least. So use it as much as you can to draft things. But then I think really the human voice that can only be delivered by a human is really an important thing that AI is just not going to be able to do in the foreseeable future. So, and then back to the slide I showed, I think AI is particularly well suited for the lower end of the spectrum, things that are task oriented. And it can also help with outcomes oriented work, but use it as a resource as opposed to the end result.
Thank you so much. We have actually a live question from Rachel. Rachel, would you like to unmute yourself?
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I thank you for doing this, first of all. It's really helpful to see the different success stories and how different types of small businesses are using the assistance. I was wondering what your guidance might be on a small business that probably needs multiple of these services. Is it best to hire one freelancer who can help you to develop the speaking and podcast outreach, as well as doing some of the, I don't know, lead generation, as well as doing some of the graphic art stuff? Or is it better, do you find, to get 2 or 3 different freelancers for the different types of tasks?
Well, I think that at the end of the day, you want people that are expert or as good as possible at these different things, because graphic design and, pitching for podcasts or something are really different skill sets. So I think you're better off hiring people that are really skilled in a specific activity. But that leads me back to why I really so highly recommend teams, because the team is led by a business owner, a virtual assistant agency owner, that it develops a relationship with you to understand the broad range of skills that you need. And then within that business owner's team are all those experts for you. But you don't have to go find all those experts. You don't have to have a relationship with 3, 4, 5 people. You can have a relationship with the person that owns that agency, and that's the person that coordinates. Oh, you need graphic design this week? Fine. X hours to do that. Then you're done. Okay, now you need to deploy those tools in a marketing effort. Now it's a different person, but all part of that team. And that's really why I gravitated towards the team model. In the early days of results resourcing, we found individual experts. And what I kept finding from clients is the initial problem got solved. Then it's like, oh, I need somebody else now. Well, now it's another whole search. And it takes time and effort to find, vet, and curate talent that matches your needs from a business skill, tool skill, and frankly, work style or cultural skill. And so I really think the team is the way to go, because it's so flexible and you get the skill depth that you need. But it's also really hard to do. So it's up to everybody on this call, but at the end of the day, we'll do it for you. We've already got the teams pre-vetted, and they can be up and running for you in 24 to 48 hours. And, so it's just, to me, it's a balancing act, whether you want to do the work yourself and you enjoy it and how fast you need it. But ultimately, creating a talent ecosystem and coordinating all of those different resources, that task falls upon you, as opposed to outsourcing to a team that's got a project manager, a leader that's going to coordinate all that for you. Does that answer your question? Or have any follow-up questions?
Actually, yes, I do have a follow-up question. And hiring a team, freelance team, that makes a lot of sense. And I guess my follow-up question is then, and I think you may have addressed it in one of the success stories. So we can use them as a consultant and ask them advice as well on what do you think is the best way to do this, rather than handing them a project to execute, which is what happens more on Fiverr and Upwork.
Absolutely. I mean, they have a great deal of experience. I'll just use the Amazon seller thing as an example. I mean, they know how to do it from A to Z, and they've done it before for other clients. So as you're setting up your first store, you don't have to recreate the wheel. I mean, you basically can say, okay, here's what I want to do. What's the best way to do it? And so they really are people that can help you problem solve and think through the work that you need to do. And all of our engagements start with this free 30-minute client, this consult that I've spoken about. And really what we do there is tell us what you want to do. What do you want to achieve? And then we help that business owner reverse engineer, because we've done so many engagements with so many business owners. We've probably done it before. So a lot of times it ends up, well, if you want X, then you're going to need A, C, D, Q to get there. And sometimes there's skills or abilities that business owner didn't even know was available or was required. And so rather than learn the hard way that you missed something, we can really help think through what's going to be required to be successful, because that's ultimately what you want, not the task done. You want the result that the task needs to deliver.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Great questions.
I have another question. There's so many softwares and updates, so much technology, I can't keep up. Will your VA team be able to help to stay on top of things?
Absolutely. That's probably one of the things that I find people come to us most often for. Either they're thinking about getting technology and they're not sure which one, because there's so many ads for point solutions for this or that. And of course, they always have glowing reviews and things like that. And how do you digest the marketing from reality? So initial decisions about what is working for speaking coaches, for example, what are most of the successful speaking coaches using? We know that because we support them already. And we also hear from them what's working, what's not working. So we have a database in a sense, of experience. And then a lot of people come to us with a system that they got that they set up to the bare minimum, but they're really not optimizing it. And so that's another thing the VA teams can help with, is optimizing your CRM or your lead generation system or your newsletter marketing system, because there is so much technology available through these systems that you should leverage the database you have, so you're able to reach out to the community that you have through that database more effectively. So those would just be examples of the fact that we work with all kinds of technology every single day and really know the ins and outs. And so one of the questions we ask a lot during these initial conversations is, what technology are you using? And so we find teams that have expertise in that technology, that they're not learning it on your nickel. They already know it, and can help advise you on the best way to deploy it.
How can VA help business owners use artificial intelligence?
Oh, that's a good one. Two ways. And the first way is kind of an unseen way, but what I would say, the leading edge AI teams, and I would consider all the ones we work with under that banner, they use AI themselves to make themselves more efficient. And if they get a research project for a client, they are using AI. And it's not because they're using AI to substitute their work, but they're using AI to save them time, which saves the client time, and make sure that the broadest possible database is research for whatever the task might be. So that's use number one. And the client doesn't tend to see that, but there's a high level of adoption. And the second way is kind of twofold. One is really to help the client ask the right question, ask the right follow-up question, ask it in a way that they get actionable results. And figuring out how to ask the question isn't necessarily an obvious thing. So I think that, and which tool to use, which AI solution is delivering the best results for whatever, that's the kind of thing that they get experienced in. And I ultimately think that small businesses and solopreneurs in particular, they're not necessarily going to use AI directly in their businesses, but they're going to use a lot of tools that are AI enabled, whether it's Zoom, like we're on today, or any number of other tools. There's so much that's AI enabled. If you go to LinkedIn, they'll write a post for you or whatever. And so I think finding ways to leverage AI in that way and leveraging it properly through all the tools that are coming out there will be a way that VAs can help business owners be more efficient and save time and money that way. And then as I'm thinking about it, the last one would be just increasingly the AI agents, they are getting better and better. I mean, they have to be programmed, but if you have a dental office, for example, there's all kinds of very specific scripts and things that can be programmed into those things. So it feels like someone calling to book a dental appointment is talking to someone that's very knowledgeable about dental things. And so some of that comes from the tool maker. That's their call to fame, say dental appointment setting. But ultimately, a VA can help a dental office that doesn't do that every day get it set up properly and optimized so it delivers results for that dental office. Just using that as an example.
What criteria does result resourcing use to match freelance talent with specific business needs? Do you use AI?
We do to some extent, yes. We're like what I've been preaching. I mean, I use AI to make us more efficient and for us to make sure we understand the skill sets that are available for different kinds of work. But at the end of the day, we start with that job, that free consult, because if you don't get the initial requirements right, then you never find the right team. And so that's a really crucial call for us to have a conversation about what the business owner is trying to accomplish so we can finalize the job description so we're clear on what needs to be accomplished. And then it's a matter of, we do use a lot of technology to sort through the talent that's available and to make a best match. And we make a best match on three primary areas. One is business skill. Do they have the depth and breadth of skill that's necessary for a skill like that might be, say, content creation, lead generation, that kind of thing. And then we also look next at tools, business tools. Do they have knowledge about Shopify or Kajabi or whatever the tool might be? We make sure that we make a match there. And then last is work style. And, do you want somebody that's a go-getter, or you want something much more laid back, somebody that has experience in this particular industry? Those are all things that we look at too. So it's a combination of all the surfacing ability of technology as well as human intelligence from that call that gets the ball rolling and ultimately helps make that best match.
In your experience working with artificial intelligence and teams and VAs, do you see the price of human interaction is going to go down or up in price? Will you lock the prices if we start doing business today?
So I think the way to think about price is not so much whether price goes up or down, but how many hours that price is applied against. And I think that's what's going to go down, because I think that what might have taken 20 hours to do, because let's take an easy example, like a research project. What might have taken 20 hours to research, whatever it is, going through browsers and sifting through potential sources and things like that, might take two hours now. Because if you frame the questions right and you ask for source material and, all the way you structure their inquiry properly, it might take 2 hours less, could take an hour, and you might want to try 2 or 3 different platforms because they do deliver different results and they got trained differently. But you can end up getting the basis of research done in a very short amount of time. So even if the rate is, let's just pick an easy number, $100, $100 times 20 hours is very different than $100 times 1 hour. And so I think that the price of the skill is less important, because what you want, unless you really don't care, you want someone that's really talented in whatever you're trying to do, so you get the best available insight and ultimate results. But that rate, you'll get, in a sense, more for your money, because AI is going to make that work that's required fewer hours against that rate. So that's how I think about it, as opposed to pricing going up or down. I mean, at the end of the day, buying on price as opposed to what is the impact or revenue I'm going to generate from delivering something of quality that is durable, that clients will value and not view as something cheap. I think that really focusing on getting the resources that will help you deliver something that is meaningful and speaks to your brand is more important.
How well do you know these teams and VAs? Months, days?
Years. I would say that I've known the primary teams we work with for many years now, and I also do a test where I work with the teams myself. For work, I mean, I drink my own champagne, as the saying goes, and I'm a big believer in working with skilled freelancers to help me grow and scale my business. And so in every single instance, I have actually hired the teams I match with outside clients for work myself.
Fantastic. Is there any more questions in the chat? Last call.
Well, great. Thank you so much for listening today. And I look forward to sharing this recording with you, and really look forward to hearing from you so we can talk more about specifics for your business. And I really thank you for your time. And if you walk away knowing more about options on how to scale your business, then this has been a successful hour. So thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing from you. Take care.